Hi, everyone. Happy New Year. Welcome. So, today is all about asking your questions and me answering it. As always, put your questions in the comments. I just wanted to do this Q&A because I know you guys have a lot of questions. A lot of things are happening with immigration, and you just want to make sure that I am competing with a 7-month old to get you this information. So bear with me. So ask me your questions. I already have some questions lined up that people asked that I will be answering in this video. But if you are joining me live or if you are watching this on the replay, go ahead and ask me anything about US immigration law. This is what we do here. If this is your first time joining me, hi, how are you? I am attorney Lillian. I am the owner and attorney at Lilly Legal. We help individuals and families learn about US immigration law, get green cards and citizenships in the US. If that is of interest to you, if you have questions about immigrating to the US, or you're already in the US and you want to know how you can get status, go ahead, subscribe to this channel, like this video, share this video, because if you subscribe and you turn on the notification bell, you get to basically be the first to know when I'm going to go live and when I upload videos giving you more information on immigration law. There is a lot coming up with immigration law and want to make sure that you are in the know. Oh, excuse me, ma'am. Okay. So, the first thing is if you are, going through your own immigration journey or want to start your own immigration journey and you want to schedule a strategy session with me, you can do that by calling my office or by going to my website lillylegal.com. Listen, this is for you if you are starting your journey, you are on the path to green card citizenship, and you just want to make sure that you have a strategy to make 2023 the year that you stop waiting and the year that you actually get on that journey. Go ahead, reach out. Now, without further ado, let's get started. And, disclaimer as always, I am an immigration lawyer, but I am not your immigration lawyer until you reach out and we start an attorney client relationship. Okay. So, all the information I'm going to be giving out, all the answers to these are going to be not legal advice. Okay. Because again, I am not your immigration lawyer, I am a immigration lawyer. Okay. So, let's get started. The first thing is a question that I get a lot on one of my videos. Like, people are confused by the I-551 stamp and the I-551 notation on a visa, right? So there is a difference between the I-551 stamp and the I-551 notation. And here's the difference. So let's say you are in the US, right? You have a green card, your green card expired while you are filing to renew the green card, you need to travel. Or you are filing for citizenship, and while that citizenship is going on, you need proof of your green card status because now your card has expired. That is when you get the I-551 stamp. If you just entered the US with a visa, right? If you went to an interview, you gave them your passport, they gave you the immigrant visa, you enter the US, they stamp that you are now officially in the US. If you look at your visa, right? If you look at your visa, on the bottom of the visa, it says that your I-50 that this serves as proof of your permanent residency. Okay, it's temporary proof of your permanent residency. So you do not need to then go to USCIS and get a stamp, because your visa, once you enter the US and go through CBP, go through Border Patrol at the airport, when you enter the US and they stamp your passport, that that serves as proof of your status. So I just wanted to clarify that the 551 stamp versus the 551 notation on your visa. Okay, so if you have your visa, on the bottom it should say that this serves as proof of your permanent residency for 1 year. So while you're waiting for your green card to come in the mail and you need to travel, you need to work, guess what? You just need that visa with that notation. And of course, it needs to be within a year of your entry. So keep that in mind. Once you go past the year, you should have your card. Okay, even a few months, you should have your card. So make sure that you are making the payment to get your card in the mail, and that if you move or change address while you are waiting for your card to come in the mail, that you are updating USCIS. You are not waiting, because if they send it to the wrong address and it goes back, it's on you to then have to pay again to replace it. So keep that in mind. And then the next question that I get a lot is, what type of proof can I use to show that I was abused for a VAWA case, right? So most of you know VAWA is all about a U.S. citizen spouse or permanent resident spouse abusing a foreign national, right? So if you are married, the key here is you had to have been married to the person, you have to have lived with the person, and you had to have been abused by the person that is a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. So how do you prove that abuse? Well, there's so many different ways. Sometimes they send you threatening text messages. Those text messages are evidence. Okay, if you have pictures of bruises from a physical um, abuse situation, that would serve as well. Okay, so it really depends on your particular situation, the type of abuse that you suffered, right? If they were giving you taking your paycheck, having it deposited into their own account, or anything like that for financial abuse, you can, whatever you can show to document that is what you would include. So keep in mind that everything, right? Anything can be evidence as long as it shows what you're trying to prove. And with a VAWA case, you're trying to prove the abuse. You're trying to prove that you two live together. And you're trying to prove that you two were married, right? And not only were you married, your plan when you got married was to build a life together. So you need to provide documentation that shows that. So for each part of the requirements for VAWA, you must show the evidence. Okay, the evidence matters. The evidence matters. So for each part, make sure you're showing the evidence. Make sure that you are not destroying evidence. Okay, so the reason I say that is because I've seen that happen. I've seen people delete text messages, throw away pictures, things of that sort, because it reminds them of the person and they don't want that reminder in their life as they're trying to move forward. What I have done for my clients that are in those situations and do not want those reminders in their home, in their possession, is that we just print them out, drop them off with me, right? Keep it away from the person, but you need it for your VAWA case. So it's kind of like, we want you to heal and move forward. Um, but we also want you to be able to apply for VAWA and get the VAWA. So we try to make it as minimally invasive for you as possible. So we take those documents from you, and then it's not in your possession, it's not in your life, and that's how you can kind of get away from them without jeopardizing your VAWA case. Okay. Another way you can prove abuse in a VAWA case is getting a psychological evaluation. If you are in therapy due to the abuse, that report can make a difference. Okay. So the next question comes from one of my videos where I talked about the new I-485 form for green card applications, and how there's now a question on the form asking for if the person is subject to the public charge rule, and if the answer is yes, they have to disclose their household size, household income, their education, their certifications, all of that, right? So if you have no clue what I'm talking about, go watch my video from a couple weeks ago where I broke that down for you. So these are the questions that came out of that video. Can you clarify household size? Let's say I am petitioning for a parent and my parent has 2 children and is married, all listed as dependents on a 1040. I have 0, is a total of 5. Me, my parent, his wife, and 2 children. Are we all counted as part of the household? Short answer, yes. So if you, your parents, their spouse, and their 2 children live in the same house, you're part of the same household. Okay, they would have to add you as part of the same household, and everyone that's in the household that can legally work, their income is part of that person's household. So in this situation, you're filing for a parent. The parent, right, is the parent's household, not yours. So even though on your tax returns, you may put that you don't have any dependents, you may put that you don't have any children, that does not mean that your parent that's living with you, that their household size is 0. Okay, so when it's asking for the household size, when it comes to that question about whether the person is subject to the public charge rule, it's not talking about the petitioner, it's talking about the foreign national that's trying to get a green card, who is in your household. And if all 5 people live in the same household, all 5 people all 5 people are considered a household, and all 5 people's income can be used to show that the household is self-sufficient. Okay, so that's what they're really trying to get to on that, is the household self-sufficient? And if everyone's income is included and the household is self-sufficient, you're good. Okay. All right, so this person is asking that they are about to apply for the adjustment of status with the new form. They came with a K1. Are they subject to the public charge rule? And the answer to that is yes. Okay. If you are applying for a green card through marriage, through your children, through family, right? Let's just do a general brush strokes. Through family. If you're applying for a green card through family, you are subject to the public charge rule. So they have to make sure that you are not going to become a public charge. And that is done. So basically, if you are required to file an affidavit of support for your case, if you are required to file an affidavit of support for your case, you are subject to the public charge rule. That's the easiest way to put it. So no matter what type of green card, no matter how you're getting your green card, whether it's through an employer, anything, if you are required to file an affidavit of support, if someone is required to file an affidavit of support for you, you are subject to the public charge rule. And you would need to answer those questions about whether you are, your level of education, your employment, all those questions. You'll have to answer it. That's just how that works. Okay. And remember, if you are joining me live and you have questions, put them in the comments. I Ask me anything. Okay. Ask me anything about immigration law. I will be answering it. If you're watching this on the replay, go ahead, ask me your questions because I know you'll have it. Okay. I know you have questions. So go ahead and ask your questions. Okay. Okay. So the next question I have here is I received an I-693 deficiency notice for medical report. Please advise. All right. So when you file your green card application and you do not include the medical report, which is done on a form I-693, that's where that comes in, right? I-693, you do your medical report. If you do not file it with your application, it's fine, right? USCIS is fine with it. You can bring it to your interview, or if they're going to waive your interview, they will ask you to send it to them, right? But they're going to let you know that they don't have it, right? So if it's not sent with your application, just know USCIS is going to send you an I-693 deficiency notice. It does not mean you did anything wrong, okay? It does not mean you did anything wrong. They're just letting you know, hey, by the way, we do not have this form. We do not have your medical report. So don't send it to us. Don't go and do it now and send it to us. Just know we may ask for it if we're going to waive your interview, or you can bring it to your interview once you have your interview. So when you get that deficiency notice, I get so many people that get nervous when they see that. They're like, did we do something wrong? Did we not send what we're supposed to send? You're fine. Okay, you are fine. You are not required to send your medical report with the application. Now with COVID, there have been some changes as far as the lifespan of the report. So basically, before COVID, you had to have they lasted for 2 years, right? So once you do the report, they last for 2 years. And if you send it in with your application and your case is not decided within 2 years, you would need to do a new one. Those things are not cheap, okay? Those things can take, can cost anywhere from 400 and up, depending on how many vaccinations you may need. Okay, so keep that in mind. So before COVID, you had to, we basically advise everyone to wait, because if it takes more than 2 years, you will need to repeat that. And if you send your application like 60 days after you did the report, it doesn't count. So it just became a lot of things that could go wrong as far as sending it in ahead of time, that the general practice for most people was not to send it in. However, USCIS made some changes. So now you don't have to, the 2 years, they're waiving that 2 years. They're waiving the fact that, if it's done 60 days before you file, they're waiving all of that. So if you, if you if you are applying for a green card, either through marriage, whatever, and you want to give yourself a good chance of your application being approved without an interview, this is what you should be doing, because this is something new that USCIS is telling us now, right? They're telling us this now, is when you file your application, again, make sure your application is stacked so that you get the best chance of having it waived, right? But if they choose to waive it and they don't have your medical report, they will send you a request for evidence for that medical report. However, if you send your medical report in with your application and they decide to waive your interview, they will just go ahead and approve it, because they already have the medical report. They don't have to send you the request for evidence for the medical report. So again, if your goal is to have your interview waived, and you want to make sure, one, that you have stacked your application. You have put in as many supporting documents to prove your marriage, to prove whatever it is, whatever the basis is for you getting a green card. You want to make sure that you've put enough evidence in there. Okay. And then if you've done that, then make sure you also do your medical report and include it with the application, so that when the officer looks at everything and it's like, oh, okay, I have everything I need to approve this case. Where's the medical report? They see it, they can go ahead and approve it without sending you any notice. The only notice you will get would be, oh, your case has been approved and we're producing your card. And then the next thing after that, oh, your card has come in the mail. So that's where that really comes in handy, is that deficiency notice is just letting you know that you don't have they don't have your medical report on your file. But it doesn't mean that you have to send them the medical report. Please, please, please do not send them the medical report once you get the deficiency notice. Okay, only send it if they specifically ask you to send it in a request for evidence. Trust me when I say this. If you send them the medical report after you get the deficiency notice and they did not ask you to send it, it's going to get lost somewhere. It is. And like I said, those things are not cheap. Okay. The medical reports are not cheap. Some doctors, they charge way too much for that. And when they charge you 400 and up, you really don't want to play with that. Okay. So just make sure that you are following the proper procedure once you have that deficiency notice. And if you get a request for evidence for your medical report only, run, do not walk. Run and get your medical report done and mail to USCIS, because that is a good indication, like 90%, that your application will be approved without an interview. So run, don't walk. All right. So those are all the questions I had that people sent me ahead of time. So if you have any questions and you are joining me live, please go ahead, put it in the comments. I am happy to respond to all your questions. If you are watching this on the replay and you have questions, go ahead and ask me as well. I do go back and respond to my questions. Respond to your comments. So go ahead and do that. And if I don't see any questions in the comments while I'm live, I'm just going to talk about the fees. So when you file an application with USCIS, except for like a few applications, let's say like VAWA, asylum, those applications do not have a fee. However, most other applications do have a fee. And the thing you need to know is that there's a proposal by USCIS to raise those fees this year. The proposal is already out there. So it's not like, oh, they're thinking about it. No, they already did the proposal. We're going to be, going through comments and all of that. The key thing here is they're making a distinction between people filing on paper and people filing online. So if you file your application online, if it's available to be filed online, that's the key. So they're making a distinction on the fees. If you file on paper, when there's, the application is available online, you're going to pay more. Okay. But if the form is not available to be filed online, you will pay the normal fee. You'll pay whatever the increased fee is. But just know the proposal is now out there to increase rates. So if you have been thinking about filing your green card application, your citizenship application, let me tell you, this is the time. This is the time to do it, because you're going to get in on a lower rate and you're not paying an extra fee. Sorry, y'all. baby things. You're not paying an extra fee for just because you waited a little longer. So there is going to be a comment period for this. I'll be doing a whole video, I believe next week, talking about this in detail, like listing out what the increase is, where the fees are going to go, things like that. So next week I'll be going into detail with that. But just know there's a comment period. We still have time to like basically say, hey, there's an inflation, there's a possible recession going on. Maybe this is not a time to be increasing fees. Maybe, right? Maybe this is not the best time to increase fees. So that's basically what I'll be talking about. How to comment, right? Where you can send your comments, because I need everyone. We need everyone to be, on the same page. We need everyone that understands the immigrant experience. Like, you're here, you are depending on your situation, you may not even have employment authorization, and now they're increasing the rates, and you it's going to cost you more now to just file to basically get status when you qualify for status. Is a whole thing. So I'll be talking about that all next week. So feel free to join me, and we're gonna I'm going to enlist y'all in some advocacy for immigrants, okay? Because come on. This is not the time, USCIS. Like, and I always tell people this, and they don't, most of the time they don't want to listen. USCIS is not your friend. They're not your friend, right? They're looking at their bottom line. USCIS is one of the only government agencies that their whole budget is based on your fees. For them to run properly is based on your fees. So unless unless Congress changes how they give money to USCIS, they're one of the only government agencies that literally cannot function unless they have your fees. Make that make sense, right? So just know they're not there looking whether this is going to benefit you or not. They're looking at their bottom line. So advocacy is going to be a big topic next week when we talk about these fees, but I will be breaking it down for you. Like I said, there's going to be a difference between applications filed on paper versus applications filed online. Applications filed online are going to have a lower rate. Either way, the fees are increasing, right? Either way, the fees are increasing. However, online applications are going to have a lower rate versus paper filed applications. Now, the real thing here is most USCIS applications, including the green card application, cannot be filed online. They're making a distinction between paper filing and online filing, but their most used application, the green card application, the I-485, cannot be filed online. So yeah, we're gonna get into all of that next week. It's gonna be interesting. So feel free to join me. If you have questions, please put it in the comments. If I don't see any questions, then we're going to end this. But as you can tell, I am looking forward to talking to you about these fee increases next week. Same time, same place. And we're just going to dig a little deeper and see how I can enlist all of you to advocate for immigrants against USCIS, basically, and get these fees hopefully not increased. Oof, it's a lot of increase, so let's work together and make that not happen. If you're joining me, any questions? I'm looking at the comments. I do not see any questions, so that means you that are here, you have your questions answered. You are, you're getting a lot out of my channel. So that's great. If you are watching this and you are not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe so that you do not miss any of my lives or my uploads. We'll be doing a lot more on this channel moving forward for 2023. So go ahead and subscribe. If you found this video helpful, like it, share it. Let's keep it moving. If you want to know if you qualify for immigration benefits, if you want to know if you can apply for citizenship, green card, feel free to reach out and schedule a strategy session with me. I have really been enjoying getting the call, getting on a strategy session and someone tell me, oh, I've been watching your videos and I just had all these questions. So that's the place to ask me more of your personal questions that we can go through your personal history and come up with a strategy for you to be able to get status or give status to someone else. Okay. So for you to schedule that strategy session, you can call my office. The number is always on the screen. And you can go to my website, lillylegal.com. All my contact information is always in the description to my videos. So do with that as you may wish. Okay. And as always, thank you so much for taking the time and listening to me and asking your questions and engaging with me. I truly, truly do appreciate you all. All right. So that is all for today. Remember, next week, we are going to be going deep into um, the new fees, immigration form fees, and how it can impact you being able to apply for immigration benefits. All right. Thank you so much. And as always, I am Lillian Chukura. I am an immigration lawyer with Lilly Legal, where we do immigration law and we do it well. I will see y'all later.